So, have you ever found yourself in a room and wondered what is actually going through the mind of that super sharp person over there?
We have this cultural image, right? We think of a genius as someone who's just got all the answers, always ready to drop some mind blowing insight at a moment's notice. Okay, but what if we've got it all wrong? What if real intelligence isn't about what they say, but what they deliberately choose not to say? That's where things get fascinating.
So, that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's dive into 5 things that highly intelligent people are constantly thinking but almost never say out loud. All right, before we jump into number 1, we need to get this one key idea down. For someone with a super high IQ, silence isn't just silence. It's not a void. It's a choice, a really calculated one.
And this isn't just, them being introverted or shy. Psychology actually backs this up. It shows that a high IQ can totally change how you approach talking to people. It makes the decision to stay quiet just as powerful as the decision to speak up.
Okay, so that leads us perfectly into our very first unspoken thought. This one is all about seeing where a conversation is headed way before it actually gets there.
Yep. This conversation is predictable. That's the thought. It just flashes in their mind. They've already mapped it out. They see the end point. They know the arguments that are going to come up, sometimes within seconds of the conversation starting. So how do they do that? It's not magic. It's something called pattern recognition. Think of it like a superpower of the brain. Because of their high fluid intelligence, they can spot connections and recurring scripts in, well, everything, including conversations. Their brain is like a supercomputer, running a simulation based on thousands of past talks to predict with scary accuracy where this one is going. So you might be thinking, why not just say it, Hey guys, I know where this is going. Well, because that's a great way to make everyone feel dumb and totally disconnect from them. It just puts up a wall. So for the sake of connection, they just let it ride. All right, let's move on to the second big unspoken thought. This one is all about how these see arguments, and trust me, they see a whole other game being played underneath the surface. It's this simple but kind of deep realization. Most arguments aren't about truth. They figure out really fast that when people are arguing, they're not usually on some noble quest for the facts. Nope, it's often about something completely different. And this really breaks it down perfectly. You've got 2 columns here, right? On one side, you have the pursuit of truth. It's all about facts, being open-minded, trying to understand. But on the other side, it's defense of ego. This is about identity, protecting beliefs, and just wanting to be told you're right. A highly intelligent person gets very good very quickly at figuring out which of these 2 games is really being played. And this is the key takeaway. When they disengage from an argument, it's not because they're giving up or because they can't win. It's because they realize they're trying to play chess while the other person is playing, well, a completely different game. You can't win with logic if logic isn't even on the board. Okay, number 3. This thought really builds on that pattern recognition skill. It's about seeing time differently, not just as now, but as a whole chain of dominoes stretching way out into the future. This is what's running through their head all the time. I see the long-term consequences. While most of us are just looking at the choice right in front of us, their brain is already running simulations of what happens next and what happens after that. The ripples that will spread out for weeks, months, maybe even years. This little timeline is a great way to picture it. They see some small habit today, something nobody else even notices. They recognize how it connects to a bigger trend. And from there, they can actually predict a major outcome that's way, way down the road. And again, the big question, why keep this amazing foresight secret? Well, let's be real. Who actually likes being told, hey, that thing you're doing right now is going to cause a huge problem later? Almost nobody. It's a recipe for resentment. So a lot of the time, they just watch. Now, this 4th unspoken thought is a little different. It's not so much an observation about other people, but more of a quiet internal feeling. It's this constant sense of being on a slightly different wavelength from everyone else. Yeah, it's this quiet thought. I feel slightly out of sync. It's just a simple acknowledgement that the speed at which their brain works, it's just not the same as the people they're talking to. And there's actually a psychological term for this, asynchronous social pacing. It's basically that gap you feel when your mind has already leaped from A to Z while everyone else is still working through the details of B. And it's not that they're impatient, it's just a literal difference in mental processing speed. I mean, can you imagine saying that out loud? It would sound so arrogant. So what do? They learn to cope. They'll either intentionally downshift their thinking to match the room's pace, or they'll just kind of retreat into their own head for a bit. And that brings us to our last one, number 5. And honestly, this one might be the most personal and maybe the saddest of all.
That's it. Loneliness is the cost. It's this heavy, unspoken truth that often comes with having a really powerful mind. A kind of isolation that isn't really a choice. It's just a consequence.
And it is so important to get this right. This isn't because they think they're better than everyone else or because they don't like people. Not at all. It's just simple math. The number of people who can truly meet them at their own level of depth and curiosity, it's just really, really small.
So when you boil it all down, what's the big takeaway? It's that the smartest person in the room isn't always the one talking the most. It's often the quiet one who's thinking 5 steps ahead, understanding what doesn't need to be said. And that kind of leaves us with this final thought, doesn't it? What if we've been measuring intelligence all wrong? What if it's not about what we say, but about what we understand is better left unsaid?